the dark coniferous forest, the fog's oozing out of the gully that you were in, fleeing the undead, as far as you could tell. A strange thing. Drew finds himself, along with a small russet dog, facing the snout of a boar, giant in proportions, about 12 feet at the shoulder, the muzzle of its face about at his head height. The freezing cold fog kind of almost not quite touching his flanks as the heat of his body seems to just evaporated away, so the mist swirls around him. And in your mind you hear the words, "You must come with me, human." And Drew finds himself staring at something which is out of myth and legend, something that is rarely seen but not even truly believed to exist. Kind of almost dark fire burning behind those eyes. Something untamable. Something which is its own beast and will be and do as and how it declares fit.
Is it possible to do a sense motive on this animal?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a bit of a long shot. What would it be?
Sense motive?
Or just the...
Sense motive, wisdom?
Wisdom, thank you. No, 3.
All you can sense is that it means what it says.
Can I tell whether it means me any harm? Or is whether it's actually...
Give it to attempt.
10.
It doesn't mean any obvious harm.
Okay.
I mean, and it is telling you that you are, well, you're trapped between a rock and a hard place. It will come to your mind. You are surrounded by this freezing mist, which is disorientating you and sapping your strength, just by the pure cold and the dampness that's seeping into your clothes a bit. And you can make a perception check.
5.
You can hear the sound of creaking tree limbs, and it's all kind of like, almost like things are surrounding you and everything's pressing in.
I decide to go with this ball. I've been attacked by an undead. There's this eerie fog. I know this place is surrounded by these crazy spiders. I know this...
No, that's, you're not in that, you're in the gully on the castle side.
Sure, but this just generally my experience of what's happened so far, you know, it's... although I have this feeling that this is going to take me further away from Libby, possibly, but I decide to go with the ball.
The boar drops to one knee as if proffering its back and it goes, "Quick, you fool!" You hear crunching coming from behind you.
I leap up onto the ball, and I say, "Come on, dog, follow!"
And as you leap up onto the boar, it immediately raises before you've even settled as a sort of in a mounted position. It charges forward, and you just catch a glimpse of something skeletal, and it smashes its head through it, and the thing shatters against a tree.
Whoa.
And it starts running through the fog, up through the trees, bounding really fast, like just occasionally smashing into a tree, but there's no give on him, just the tree is right in your face, almost whipping you, and it sort of just slams away from you with a crashing sound as he hits it with just a shoulder. And he keeps running and keeps running and keeps running and keeps running and keeps running until you don't have any clue where you are anymore.
Is the dog following?
You can hear the occasional bark behind you, and it appears that the dog is following.
Okay.
It runs for you don't know how long. You get so cold and so exhausted riding the beast that you just pass out at one point. And when you come to, you find yourself alone, except with the dog licking your face. And you look around and there's no fog, there's no coldness, but you're in a place you don't really recognise. You feel like you're up in the mountains somewhere, it's cold. Make a perception check.
10.
It's cold enough that you've definitely somewhere in the mountains, you'd think, and you don't recognise this, but it looks like some of the meadowlands, and it might be some of the higher up meadowlands that are used for animals during the summer. But you're in the edge of it, so there's sort of pine forest, meadow, and then it sort of drops away again and there's pine forest. And you have a lasting memory in your head that says, follow the river. It will take you to safety.
And I recognise that as the familiar voice of
It's the voice of the other thing. It has the same kind of oppressive quality where it feels like something in your mind. You know, like when you have a high pressure and you've got like just before like a lightning storm, you have that like heavy weight. It kind of feels like that in your head.
Okay, and he's telling me to follow the
river.
The river.
So you know that if you go downhill, you'll come across a river.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Am I completely alone? Can I see anybody else?
Just this strange little scraggly dog.
Okay. No other animals around?
Not obviously, no.
Not obviously.
But you're not in the fog anymore. It's actually a beautiful blue day. It's cold, it's crisp, but it's sunny.
Okay. I'm really hungry. I haven't eaten since I possibly ate Brewy and Mr. Mister. So I'd like to forage for something to eat.
Survival.
Survival. Natural 20.
Okay,
Needed that.
you start sort of wandering around quietly as if you're stalking, even though there's nothing obvious to stalk, and you hear some rustling overhead and you see some squirrels start running around one of the trees, and you whip out a dagger and you just sling it without even thinking because you're so desperate, and it pins one of them to the tree.
Sweet, so I got a natural 20s.
Mhm.
So I just alright, I pins it to the tree.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you've you've just caught yourself a squirrel.
Alright, excellent. I would like to. I'll go and retrieve the squirrel, sheathe my dagger, and look for some firewood to try and make a fire.
Okay. There's plenty of wood around to make a fire, so you spend about an hour, and as you're getting your bearings, you sort of realise that you must have run through the night or something, because it's daylight now. And make another check as well for perception.
12.
And you realise the light's weird, like there's no sun, it's directionless. So there aren't really any shadows. It's almost like it's high noon, where there's only but there's sort of not really any shadows, it's just a sort of ambient lighting.
Okay. I think because of hunger he'll kind of shrug this observation off for now as it being a bit meaningless, and sort of, oh, that's a bit odd, but then carries on making the fire and cooking up the squirrel.
So you get the fire lit, and it doesn't take that long, about half an hour or so to gather up.
I don't have any flint and steel on me, so I guess I'm rubbing sticks together.
Oh, let's make it another survival check.
Yeah, a lot. 19.
So about 3/4 of an hour pass, and you've made yourself. You found a suitable limb, and you've gathered some of the finer roots, which have got a lot of flex, and you've made yourself a bow and a stick, and you've cut a wedge, and you've sat down and actually lit a fire.
Nice.
Using that kind of method where you use the bow to make the stick rotate, and you shave some of it off, and it all catches up and starts burning, and you set about making like a couple of branches stuck in. You gut the squirrel and skin it and skewer it and have it sort of roasting. And it takes about 20 minutes to cook the squirrel, and by the time it's sort of the meat is cooking, it's like the smell is just making you salivate and sit there being like, oh, I just want to eat. Patience prevails, and so after about an hour you're sat there and you're eating the squirrel.
I'd like to share it with the dog as well.
Okay.
Obviously.
So how much do you give him?
Oh,
A
third.
A third. Okay, so you just sort of tear off a third and offer it to the dog, who takes it and is sort of very like careful, and puts it down, sort of chews on it a bit, and sort of it looks like almost like he's savouring it, really taking his time over every last little morsel that comes out of it.
Well, while I'm eating, I look to the dog and I say, well, I can't really go around calling you dog all the time, can I? Hey, boy?
No.
Suppose we better give you a name. What shall we call you? I think I'll call you Red. Do you like that? Do you like Red?
Oh.
I think you'd say yes to anything with your mouth full of some meat, wouldn't you?
And he sort of eyes you like you know far too much about what you're talking about, and goes back to carefully eating the meat.
I am slightly taken aback just by how intelligent this dog seems. And, well, I'm lost. So we finish off. I'll kick the fire out. And, I'd like to do a spot check for any tracks, specifically human tracks.
Okay.
8.
You
7.
Sort of wander around sort of start wandering around the meadow. So the meadow opens up and it's sort of maybe an acre or so, so it's quite big, and you sort of start walking the periphery. And what you find is on one side where it hits conifers, it sort of goes up in a steep incline, and then the conifers clear away and it turns to snow. And this sort of runs around the perimeter of it, and one way seems to head into the mountains, and the other way there's a steep drop off down to some kind of river below.
Okay. Well, I'll go towards the river because, I think I'll take the advice of. It seemed that boar saved my life. So I had this feeling that I should listen to the boar. He might be trying to help me out here. So I'll make my way down towards the river as instructed by him. So you say it's about midday?
Oh no, it's in the morning.
It's in the morning. Okay.
Or you think it's the morning,
I
it's
think
light.
it's the morning. It's light.
Do you start heading down towards the river?
Yeah, let's head toward down towards
Okay, so
the river,
you walk through an open meadow, and it turns into a coniferous forest as you're going down the slope. So it's these sort of, again, tall pine trees with sort of few branches lower down. They tend to be much higher up. But you're coming down at such a steep angle. There's large rocks that sort of stick up, and you sort of have to cut around them. You sort of take a zigzagging path down through this forest where sometimes the trees are almost at head height, whilst another tree you don't have. So it's very steep and winding. And as you come down, you start to hear the sounds of a river below, but it sounds like a sort of placid, lazy river. And you then start to hear some kind of kerfuffle ahead of you. Where like someone's like, oh, and then sort of someone else is like, off in the distance. It's out of sight at the moment, but it's loud enough. It's like people are shouting at each other.
I shall move silently, very silently, towards the sound of these people. Nope. 10.
Okay, so how are you approaching these people? Because you can't see them yet. You can hear a river is sort of off directly ahead of you, and these people are sort of ahead of you and to the left of it.
Let's see. Well, I'd like to try and head towards the river, but sort of taking a wide berth around from where I hear the voices, just to see if I can get a sort of a view of them from a distance. So if they're sort of off to the left, I want to take a sort of detour around to the right.
So you start walking away from them.
Yeah.
Veering off to your right, because they're off to your left.
Yeah.
And you move roughly until you're almost out of earshot, and then like you hear like you crunch on a branch underfoot, and you stop for a few seconds and sort of glance over in the direction you think they would be, take a few more paces and sidle up to a tree and sort of peer down river a little bit just to see what's there. And what you can see is on one side there appears to be a very ugly looking old woman, and on the other side there appears to be a very beautiful young man. And the young man is shouting across the woman. It's like, "It's easy, just come along, come across."
Okay.
And she's shouting, "I'm too old for this, you need to come and carry me." It's like, no chance, not a chance, you're too heavy for me. Even though he looks like quite a big heavy set guy. What are you doing?
Do I recognise these people?
Make a check.
No.
You have never seen them before in your life.
Do I recognise what colours they wear? Any recognisable daubings, sigils?
You can distinctly, categorically say you've never seen these before. The young man is like a sort of blonde-haired, golden-skinned, but like tanned, golden, brown, tanned, sort of Grecian proportions. Incredibly beautiful. Built like a barrel. 6'2" and sort of proportionally magnificent, like a bull. And the old woman on the other side is sort of this tiny, haggard woman who's got sort of grey hair, all matted and tied back, and she's dressed in sort of dirty brown rags and has a walking stick and a big backpack on, which is almost the same size as her, and so she's hunched underneath it, and the backpack seems to have all manner of things stuffed in it and pots hanging off the outside, and there's not a bridge either, and the water there doesn't appear to be like particularly shallow or deep.
Do I have any knowledge if this river is connected to the rivers that I know of?
14.
14, 15, 17.
17.
Is this the same river? Because
you have no idea where this river is exactly. You know that you are somewhere in the mountains for sure.
I know that much, yeah.
And so you're certain that you're north of Castle Frogmore somewhere, but you feel like wherever this river may be, it's a section of the river that you have never been to and are not liable to know anybody to have been to. It's like, and if there is anyone, it would be the people that take the animals up into the highest pastures in the middle of summer.
Okay. It's just that if I wanted it to make my way home, so if this river is connecting,
it could connect to one of the two rivers that you know.
And yeah.
So it could come out.
It is logical to
assume at the crevasse with the webs.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a vague recollection of where I may be.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Is that gentleman, the beautiful gentleman, wearing any weaponry?
Go for it.
Yes, 1918.
There appear to be some javelins slung on the floor.
So
he's got some, 5 javelins?
He's got some javelins on him. Okay.
But they just seem to be on the floor at the moment, along with a shield.
You see, now he is wary, because the area outside surrounding the castle is really living up to its reputation. He hasn't had any good experiences so far. The only positive experience that he thought he had was with Maudlin, who ended up, murdering the dogs and poisoning him. So he's very wary about approaching these people. Although he's going to take a chance. He's going to take a chance. It's a little old lady with pots, and this gentleman who appears to be her son or something. So,
at this point you hear her shouting like, "You come back here, young man! You know that I can't get my feet wet!"
Okay, right, here he goes. He's going to step out from behind the tree. How far is he away from these people? Shouting distance? Well, you can hear them talking.
You can hear them
obviously.
shouting at each other, but it's
Cool.
like you're at the edge of your hearing distance.
Okay. I will step out. I'll step out from behind the tree and start walking towards them, whistling a jaunty tune.
Okay, the old woman immediately sort of seems to be glancing around and looks in your direction and turns and be's like, and looks at you, and she's like, "Alright, get over here, there's a man, there's a strange man!"
I shout, "I mean you no harm. Please do not be concerned."
She's like, "Oh no, get him away from me, get him." Make a charisma check.
Ooh. Oh man, bad rolls, Drew, today. 10.
She starts backing away from you.
I hold my hands up.
And the lad from the other side is shouting like, "Don't be stupid, woman.
Okay.
It's fine, it's just a person. What are they going to do to you?"
I shout to the gentleman, I admire the lady's wariness. It is good to be wary in these parts, young sir.
She starts screaming like, "You see, he's coming to get me!" And she's hobbling backwards and he's like, "Shut up, woman.
I reassure you, madam, I am not here to harm you. I am lost."
And he shouts at her, "Maybe you can do some kind of deal with him. Maybe he can carry your enormous bulk." She looks tiny.
Okay. I say,
except for the pack as well. And as you get closer, you start to see that she's sort of got like wiry hair sticking out of her
mole
chin.
and stuff.
Yeah, mole.
Yeah,
mole and hair sticking out of her nose.
Okay. I'm more than happy to offer any assistance that you may require. If you would be willing to help me, that is.
And she sort of looks up at you, closes one eye, and just looks at you carefully with the other, and is like, "A deal, you say?" And sort of lifts up her stick and sort of puts her hands together and rubs them a little bit and puts her stick back down, rests on it, and sort of looks up at you and is like, "So what do you have to offer?"
Oh, like I say, madam, I offer my assistance. I am willing to carry your pack for any distance that you require. If there's anything else that you feel that you may require help with, do let me know, and if I can, I will.
And you hear a shout from across the river, and the man shouting, "I bet you that you can't carry across the river, but if you can, I'll give you one of my javelins."
Oh, carry her across the river, did he say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. How
And
old?
she shouts at me, "Hey, this is my deal. Get out!"
How old is this fellow?
You guess he's maybe early 20s.
Okay, so a young man. Okay. I'm willing to strike a deal, madam. Scratch your back, and I shall scratch yours. What is it you require? I can carry you across this river. I could use a javelin, but if there's anything more pertinent that you require.
She looks at you and she goes, "There's something you want to know, isn't there? I can tell you one thing. But first, carry me across the river."
Oh, okay.
And he's like, "If you take her deal, you can't have mine."
I'm sorry, young man, but I feel that with my situation, information is going to be more important to me than your javelin. I do appreciate it, though. I turn back to the old woman and I say, oh, because she's an old woman, I want to show her respect. It's like, how would you like to be carried across, madam? He's really kind of like,
Well, now,
he's like, oh.
there's one thing. My feet cannot touch the water.
Okay.
I cannot drown. And if my feet touch the water, I'll drown.
Can I take you and your pack at separate times?
She's like, "No.
Oh. Can I
I
get...
never let you. Don't even talk about it. It's my pack.
Oh,
It never comes off. It's mine.
sorry,
I can't
madam.
have it."
Sorry, madam, yes. Can I gauge how heavy this pack may seem?
Go for it.
No.
It looks as if it's the same size as her.
Alright, okay. Let's do it. I take the woman and to scoop her up by her to
Okay.
hold, to kind of
Make a strength
like
check.
that. And oh no, it's 8.
You are shocked when you just find she's like a leaden ballast.
Oh no.
You sort of go to move her and it's like, doesn't budge a bit. She's like, "You'll have to do better than that. You look like a healthy man."
Okay, I spit into each palm, rub them together, and I try a different approach. I take, excuse me, madam, and I take her right arm over my shoulder, and I try and fireman carry her
Go for
this
it.
time, not using that dice. 18.
Okay, you struggle, and you sort so you go down, you put her up, you lift her up, and you've got her on her shoulders, and you're holding her right up, and it feels like the weight of the world is upon your shoulders, and she's like, "Oh my, you are a strong man, aren't you?" And starts kicking her legs and flailing her.
Madam, please, madam, do be
She's like,
still.
"Woo!" The more you sort of struggle with her, the more excitable she becomes.
Oh goodness. How wide is this river?
Ooh, about 10 feet wide. You don't know how deep it is, though.
I don't know how deep it is. Okay.
She cackles, she's like, "Whoa! Now remember, my feet cannot get wet."
Okay. Drew thinks to himself, but she didn't say anything about her head. He starts to wade through the river.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how's he holding it?
Fireman's carry.
So she's across his shoulders, head here, leg
So,
thumb here,
basi-
leg sticking out.
well, no, he's got her over one shoulder.
So he's holding her, so
Her whole body is over one shoulder, but her arm is round. So he's got purchase. So
Okay,
he's got
so
a
he's
butt
holding
here,
that.
and he's got a
and
wrist
you kind
there.
of hunch right forward to
Forward.
balance the pack above
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah, fireman's carry.
So, okay.
So her feet are dangling down.
Make a perception check when you turn and look at the river.
Okay. 14.
You see that right where you are, the river is quite deep, but to the right of you, there looks like there's stones under the water, and to the left of you, it looks like it might get a bit shallower, not far away.
Let's go to the left. Let's go. Let's
Let's
try and edge my way to the left to the shallow.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you take a step into the water, because the bank turns to sort of rocky mess off to your left. This is the easiest way in, and then you start going along the edge, just in the edge of the water. And you start going and it gets a little bit shallower,
Okay.
but you can't really tell in the middle.
I take one step. engage with my foot, just like for
Okay,
purchase,
yeah.
like really sort of feel the
feels
bottom
like this sort of
like,
sandy mush. You
is
know when
it-
you put your foot in sand and it's solid at first, and then it kind of bit of drags away from you, so you feel that slight slump,
Mhm.
but you're steady for the minute.
Okay. Fine. I kind of probe with my second foot just further along, just to see.
Doesn't seem to get any deeper.
Doesn't seem. And again with the next one.
And now you're dropping down. You're up to about thigh height in water.
Okay. Am I halfway across?
You're about a quarter of the way. Make a strength check.
No!
Make a reflex save.
Oh god, what was reflex again?
It is dexterity modifier.
Ooh,
Cock. So that could be really mean.
what? It's a 1. It's a 1. 2 crit fails in a row.
Just putting your foot forward, probing, you feel the ground sort of slurring away from under your foot, and you suddenly just collapse under the wave,
no.
fall as she topples into the water with you.
Oh no! Oh no! I should have gone for my first thought.
Some kind of like bubbling occurs around you, and the water suddenly feels very hot, and then it kind of cools off again. And as you sort of struggle back up to the surface and look around, all you can see is sort of a fog and some clothes being swept downstream.
No!
And a raucous laughter coming from the back. It's just like, oh, you've done it now. She won't like that very much.
I look at him utterly drenched and confused.
And he's like, well, you best be on your way, sir. And he goes and hefts up his javelins, picks up his shield, and starts going off, just laughing at the top of his voice. He's just sort of hear me out as he starts trudging off.
I try and shout after the man. I'm like, wait! Wait, what's going on here? What happened to her? Where are you going?
And he just shouts over his shoulder, well, what kind of woman disappears into the river? And he just keeps on walking. And now he's gone out of sight now, and you can just hear the distant sound of a deep, hearty laugh. And